Welcome to Success in Motion. Join us as we dive deep with top leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals, uncovering strategies to grow, scale, and succeed.
Welcome back to the Success in Motion podcast. I'm your host, Alex Burho, and today we're going to be joined by Jackie McIntosh. She is the Executive Vice President, the Market President at Cogent Bank. So thank you so much for jumping on here today with us, Jackie.
You're welcome, Alex. Thanks for having me.
So, Jackie, can you go ahead and just give us a quick snapshot about what you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I serve as the market president for Cogent Bank in the Tampa Bay, Clearwater, St. Pete area. Cogent Bank is a community bank chartered in the state of Florida. I have been in banking for 28 years. I started almost out of college. I went through a training program. I was fortunate to have a couple of experiences where I started with small banks and wore a lot of hats and grew those banks along with my client base. And I was asked to start Cogent Bank, which was a small bank that rechartered from a previous bank about 5 years ago. And so I started the area, and I now have a team of 10 bankers who have different specialties.
Now, I'm a little unfamiliar with the, banking industry. What does the market president do specifically for you?
Sure, that's a great question. As market president of a small bank, I wear a lot of different hats, and I enjoy the entrepreneurial part of the job. It allows me to really relate to our client base who are running small businesses themselves. We're a boutique bank. We provide very high levels of service. And I have my own clients that I service. I also have a team of bankers who specialize in, let's say, private banking, commercial real estate, SBA lending. Really, it doesn't matter what cycle the business is in. We have a specialist, and I work with those bankers as well. To try to bring capital and banking operation needs to those businesses.
That's awesome. Now, I know you said you've kind of started this Cogent Bank and built it up in this area. What would you say really sets you apart in the banking space? Because I know there's a lot of competition out there.
Yeah, it seems like everybody always wants to be in the state of Florida. I've grown up with a lot of competition. At the end of the day, I think it all comes down to, the people skills, and then your ability to really relate to what the business community is going through and find ways to continue to add value. I consider, we're an extension to the organization, and there's a lot of information now available to everyone that through technology. So, it's really, their time is limited. How can we continue to bring value and make banking not part of their day, but where we do a lot of the heavy lifting, right? Because they've got big businesses to run out there. So we don't want them spending a lot of time in the banking space.
And I know I would definitely appreciate that because that's not my forte. So,
Right, exactly.
so what would you say has come really easy for you as you've been growing this business, doing your thing?
It's really always doing the right thing. And trying to put myself in their shoes and think, what would I need to help grow or scale my business. Have conversations, bring ideas to the table, bring a network. I think the network of having, trusted providers are very important to help them along in their journey. And so I'd wrap it up as being very, very much focused on integrity and doing the right thing.
That's great. And, if you do things right, everything always falls into place. That's what I've always been told.
That's right.
Okay, so if someone else is wanting to grow their business, especially in the banking world, what tips or tricks have you learned that you would want to share?
I think if for business owners, it's so important to have an organized set of financial statements, have a general plan. Plans can change, but look out and say, where do I want to be in a few years? Think about your exit strategy. That all kind of comes into thinking about your tax situation, access to capital. You don't want to be too aggressive on your tax situation if you think you might need access to capital. And so really kind of being organized around your financial statements and your plan, and having an open conversations with your accounting, your lawyer, your banker, and bring that team together to help support what it is that you want to do with your company.
Okay. Now, what would you say is your typical kind of client? When they come in, they're like, hey, I want to do, what does their journey typically look like from your end?
So a lot of our clients, being in this space and for 28 years, a lot of my clients I've grown and they've helped me grow and I've helped them grow. They've started out very small, entrepreneurial. Some of them have inherited their companies through succession. And, I've seen some I've grow and exit through sales, through private equity, through employee stock option plans, through family succession. It's been across the board. And so it's different for everybody.
I like it. Now, what would you say has been some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome as you've been growing your business, as you've been working with this company?
I think that's a great question. Having worked for different banking institutions, there's a desire sometimes based on the portfolio metrics, right, that exist in having the expertise and appetite to develop different industries. And so capital, depending upon that stage of that institution, can be very available or it could be restricted. If you think back to the Great Recession, right, and what happened after 2008, capital became very restricted, right? It was hard to access, and those are trying times for bankers as well, because you get so close to your relationships that you want to continue to be that capital provider through good times and bad times. And I think that's been probably the biggest obstacle, is to know how to navigate through that together and come out on the other side.
Okay. And what kinds of things have you learned from that of, hey, let's work together to navigate those more challenging times?
It seems to always work. At the time, you may not think that, there's a great solution, but, on looking back, it's always resulted in something that has benefited the owners of the company, their employees. It may look different than what we thought it was going to look like, but at the end of the day, I think the lesson that I've learned is that it seems to always work and come out successful.
I like that outlook. It's going to work out, might need to adapt, but it'll figure itself out.
Exactly.
I love it. So, sounds like a lot of things are going really well. You've, created a really good base. So you're doing a good job. A lot of people, especially myself, we're looking towards the future and, looking at, hey, how can we create either passive income to help supplement or replace active income? Being in kind of the banking and finance world, what are your thoughts on this and what have you done along those lines?
I've seen a lot of different strategies deployed for folks to build passive income. One of the areas that, depending upon the market and your risk tolerance, that I have seen that's worked well for many people, is investing in real estate as passive income. Starting out, with non-complex real estate transactions centered around, maybe purchasing a single family home or a duplex, kind of graduating into triplex and other multifamily. And then, from there, I've seen a lot of success where folks kind of branch out into different types of real estate. But I think that that's probably a good strategy for many people, maybe not all, but those that may not want to be in the stock market, for example.
Absolutely. I don't remember what the exact statistic was, but I heard the majority of millionaires have some kind of real estate in their portfolio. But
Yeah, and there's different ways. If you are interested in real estate, there's vehicles like real estate investment trusts or funds that are available for folks to evaluate and consider investing in, that carry different types of asset classes. Some are less risky than others, and you really have to do your homework on that, but there are alternatives if you aren't in a position where you want to begin or start with your own real estate portfolio.
yeah, absolutely. So, Jackie, as we're kind of wrapping up our interview, what exciting things do you have coming down the pipeline in the next, say, 6 to 12 months?
Our market, particularly on the beaches in Pinellas County, was significantly impacted right from the two hurricanes that hit last year. So hopefully we have a quiet season this year. We're excited to help a lot of folks with their rebuild as the permitting processes start to open back up. So we're going to really focus on the infrastructure in our community, supporting our trades who are busy out there already, working to help owners rebuild. And so we want to be part of the community effort and bringing back the Tampa market from the hurricanes.
That would be great because I know there's still a lot of areas that are really impacted and not back up to speed. So
Exactly.
I love it.
We all enjoy the beaches, right? So we want to get them all back up and running.
Absolutely. So do you guys help with the beaches themselves as well, or what other aspects are you involved in?
So as an institution, are helping not just the beaches, but all areas that have been affected. Including, if you're familiar with like Shore Acres in St. Petersburg, there's some spots in Tampa. So really, any of the areas that have been affected, we are helping provide some financial support as an institution there, as well as just on the business side, providing capital for those businesses to hire more people and meet the demands of the rebuild.
Absolutely. And we appreciate it because, like you said, we all want it to get back to where it was before.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Jackie, thank you so much for your time and sharing your thoughts and your tips and tricks with us. If someone wants to connect with you more, what would be the best way to get a hold of you?
Sure. I am out on LinkedIn under Jacqueline McIntosh, Cogent Bank, Cogent. And my email is jmcintosh, MCINTOSH, like the apple, at cogentbank.net.
Perfect. Well, again, thanks so much for your time, and we will catch everyone on the next episode.
Thanks so much, Alex.
Thanks for tuning into Success in Motion. Want to share your story? Visit successinmotionpodcast.com/guest to apply and be featured on the show.